I'm Jeff Fritz with SoundStage.com, and I'm joined today by Mads Klifoth. He is the CEO of Audiovector, based in Denmark. Mads, how are you today?
Good morning, Jeff. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I really appreciate you joining me today. I wanted to talk a little bit about Audiovector, and when I was researching the company before this interview, I was really, really impressed with the fact that you guys have been making loudspeakers for over 4 decades. That's an amazing accomplishment. That type of longevity from any audio company. And so my first question for you is, what accounts for Audiovector being able to make loudspeakers for 4 decades? What's the secret to success?
A very, very passionate founder. My father, Ole Klifoth, founded the company in 1979, and that is after he was working as a journalist at the Denmark's biggest hi-fi magazine, High Fidelity, and also after being an amateur loudspeaker designer in his spare time. He decided to follow his dream and start a company producing loudspeakers, as he couldn't find the speaker of his dream. It's been heard before, but as you can see, after 40 something years, it's a very good motivational factor for starting a new company within whichever area you are interested. So basically, the love of music is the most important thing in this. Copenhagen has always been a mecca for blues and jazz musicians, especially many years ago, where racism was absolutely a big thing in many countries. It was much more safe for the colored musicians to come to Denmark and play, and there was free for everyone to go and everyone to go listen and everyone to go listen to music. So therefore, the jazz scene was amazing. We're not the only manufacturer of sound equipment in Denmark, and there's a reason for that. The culture is super strong here, and that went from my father as well. So I grew up basically listening to jazz, blues, rock on different kind of systems, mostly tube amplifiers with home built speakers. How does this sound, Mads? How does this sound? And I think it was impossible not to fall a little bit in love in what was happening, both at home and at the company.
So I know that
So
you're the majority owner of Audiovector. Tell us a little bit about what your role is there at the company. What do you do day to day?
I've been running the company for 5 years now. I've been with the company for a little more than 7, and that's the last stretch. I've been working with the company over more than one period of time. When I was younger, building speakers. When I was a little older, into selling, and then 7 years ago, my father asked it if I wanted to start full time here, and I was really just waiting for him to ask, really. So. But there's a pride thing between a father and a son, and that balance has to kind of meet. So, as a son, you really have to want it, and as a father, you have to have the nerve to ask. But what I do is I manage marketing. I do the final listening of products. I take care of our employees, and I do things like interviews with you and others. And basically, the day-to-day business is for me. We have some very talented people that helps us with the selling, and we have some very talented people that helps us with the manufacturing, and basically the all the outside design is made by me, and originally by my father Ole. So if you look at the QR series, which is our entry level series, it's all the lines have been drawn by me, and then my father and I made all the internals together. So we really work like an organism here, and I'm still learning a lot from my father, even though that loudspeaker designs are not my strongest gift. I'm much more into working with the company and seeing how far we can get while still being privately owned and working as a privately owned companies with distributors, journalists, dealers that we actually like and have been working with for 20 plus years.
Well, that's a pretty full plate there that you have, Mads. So let's jump into the loudspeakers themselves a little bit. And I know you have a couple of different loudspeaker lines, but I think the one that we want to discuss today is the R series. It's the one that we just reviewed. Our own Aron Garrecht owns SoundStage Ultra. The R series comprises, and let me see if I've got this right. The R series comprises a number of different models, but then within those models, at least the lower models, there are optional versions. So you could have a particular model, but then there would be three optional versions. Tell us a little bit, break down the R series for us. Tell us if I've got it correct and exactly how that works as you go up the line.
Yeah, but you're completely right, and I think one of the best analogies we could do is you could take a car, take a Porsche 911 or a BMW 5 Series. We basically have for each model one chassis, so a smaller chassis for the two-way R1, a little bit bigger chassis for the 2.5-way R3, and then the R6, which Aron was so kind to review. Thank you for a beautiful review, by the way. That's a little bit bigger, and etc. So, but within the R3, for example, which is one of our best-selling speaker sizes, there are 3 steps. So you could call it good, better, best, or best, even better, and even better than that. That's that's up to you. But what varies is everything from the tweeter to the crossover to the damping materials to the internal wiring, woofers, terminals, everything. Fascia plates for the crossover, if it's cryogenically treated copper or if it's not. So it's been a process of these 40 years in the making and we're still perfecting every day and every time we do a change. But this has been a process for us to kind of see how much can we get out of this particular size of cabinet. And why do we have 3 different stages? We have 3 different steps or stages because not everyone has $10,000 for a pair of speakers. And that's totally good. And if you look at car owners, you'll find a very happy BMW 520 driver. You'll find a very happy BMW 540 V8 engine driver. And that's basically what we're offering to. So we're offering kind of a flexibility for the end user to buy a speaker, keep it for 5 or 6 years, and if the end user wants, he or she can send it back to the factory, get a full upgrade, renew guarantee, and get the new speaker back with all the new parts in it. That's called the upgrade path. Of course, if you're living in Canada and US, there's a little bit of shipping fees and extra charges that you have to deal with. But in general, the difference in the price is the difference between the 2 speakers plus 30% in parts and labor. So if you look at sometimes how much hi-fi equipment is worth after been using it for 5, 6 years, it can actually be a good deal. Plus, it's a flexibility for the end user to never kind of run dry of opportunity. Does it make sense?
Upgrade, it does. And the upgrade policy, that's actually where I want to go next, because I know that Audiovector has quite the reputation for being able to upgrade older products, and you guys have really stood by that. It seems for I don't know if it's for the duration of the entire company's history or not, but you guys
25 years.
stand by that. And tell us a little bit about you just mentioned the upgrade policy and explained it to some degree, but tell us what customer is going to choose the upgrade policy versus, for instance, trading in the product for the new model. How does that look?
I would say it's a 50-50 because you can only upgrade within the same cabinet size. So if you want to go from an R3, which is a little bit smaller than the R6 you just reviewed, and to an R6, you'll have to do a trade-in. But if you want to go from the entry-level R3 to the top level, which is an R3 Signature, to the top level, which is an R3 Arete, then that's where the upgrade path comes into play. And then this is where the customer can actually get maybe up to double the performance, but with the same footprint in the living room, maybe also a wife that has gotten used to the speakers in the house or so on. Not everyone has a dedicated listening room of our customers, so it's also sometimes a compromise where many of the ladies, fortunately, think that Audiovector looks great with the decor, and that's one of the strong reasons that we can get into many homes. Also sounding good and being very, very delicate on the R&D and so on. So trading in is a big thing also overseas, of course.
So the last question about the R series. Now I know this is I write for SoundStage Ultra, so of course when I was clicking down the menu, the first R series speaker I looked at was the R11, of course, the biggest, most expensive one. So, but I did notice that on the R11, is there just the ultimate version, the Arete
Yeah.
version, or are there three versions of the R11 as well?
Oh. R11 and little brother R8 only comes in one spec.
Okay.
Um, that has something to do with price, of course, but also with R&D. If you offer a speaker which is about $100,000 or even 200,000 with the R11, then we didn't see any great opening in having three models. Then we have to make the statement as good as we could, and as in high quality as we could, because it's not a it's a little bit less conventional than an R1, R3, or R6.
Okay, so the R8 and the R11 are available in the top version only, and then the lower three models are available in the three different versions per model. Is that correct?
Exactly. And then the entry level QR series comes in only one model and three different colors. That's it.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well that kind of gets us up to date on what Audiovector has currently. So, Matt, the last question that I have for you today, tell us about what Audiovector is doing in the R&D department. What can we expect in 2022 or even beyond from Audiovector?
The R&D process in a company like ours is constant. As most of the parts are made in Denmark by hand, we can continuously work with improvements and for small changes and so on. Of course, you won't see any changes until there's a new model, but I would say the table is full. We've been working with ScanSpeak for almost 20 years. So they build all the drivers that we have in-house in Denmark by hand. So they've been a great sparring partner when we say we would like to implement a grounding of the chassis of the drivers, and then we say, can you help us a little bit by find a way with this? We have this dedicated crossover that handles the ground. How do you think we should work with the driver so things work optimal? And then they're very nice to come back and tell us we would like to do like this. It is the best way for sound improvement, for manufacturing process, and so on. So we're working on different drivers at the moment. We're always working on our tweeter, which is basically one of the most important things for us because we use this air motion transformers in our highest models, and it is an AMT that my father built 25 years ago and has continued to improve um, in sound quality since then. So we always aim to get the most pleasing sound, but with a lot of airiness and a lot of detail and a lot of openness, and we're working on that at the moment. But on top of that, you will see two product releases from us this year, and you will not see uh, any models being discontinued. So rest assured. And in Munich, we have a new product. I'm not going to tell you a lot, but it's a new product. It's a big product, which we will show in Munich for the first time. And I look very much forward to it because this is a product that will get the bass heavy guys and the rock fans and the loud music players. I will think that will make their heart skip a beat. I hope so, at least. And I'll be happy to show it to you as one of the first journalists in the world, if you like.
Well, I'm certainly hoping that Munich's high end comes off without a hitch this year. I think we're all ready to get back to that show, and I'll definitely look forward to coming to the Audiovector room and seeing exactly what this thing is. So yeah, that sounds like fun.
Good. And it's not that I don't want to, well, maybe it is I don't want to tell you everything, but we are coming with a few new releases this following year. So keep an eye out, and I'll also let you know when possible review samples are ready. And but it's gonna be we're gonna go a little spoilers. We're gonna work with some classic lines, and then we're gonna work with a powerful new speaker.
Fantastic. Well, Mads, thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully we'll see you in just a couple months in Munich, and we'll check in with Audiovector again at that show. So thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for taking your time, and I hope you can use this. And best regards to everyone who's following SoundStage, and take care, stay safe.
You too. Bye bye.